Girbeagly!
Hey there guys and gals, it's Girbeagly with another quiz or test, I guess. It's a free personality test from over on 16personalities.com. And this is basically a Myers-Briggs test. For those of you guys who are not familiar with those, they're essentially like a way to figure out your identity, different like personality traits, whether you're like more judgmental, whether you're more assertive, etc. And it's really cool for me, especially because I actually have a background in psychology. For those of you guys who don't know, I actually used to be a psychological counselor. I worked in a group home setting with teen boys who had psychological disorders. So some of them had schizophrenia or bipolar or Asperger's, things like that. And it was really, really interesting, very, very intense. But it was this hands-on job where I basically guided them throughout their day, and anytime they had any sort of crisis, I got to do the traditional psychological counselor thing where they sat on a couch and I talked to them about their day and their feelings and tried to work on some sort of behavioral adjustment that would help them through their day. But this was really, really interesting to me because I haven't taken one of these since college, and I want to find out how much my personality has changed since then. I saw Ethan take this, and G, as well as I think Jacksepticeye took it as well, but apparently this is going to take about 12 minutes to do, probably longer for me because I just deliberate in my head all the time. Answer honestly, even if you don't like the answer, and try not to leave any neutral answers. Alright, I will do my best to do that. Let's go ahead and dive right in. You find it difficult to introduce yourself to other people. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to disagree on this one. I don't have any problem, introducing myself, but I will also stay out of people's way. Like if I'm at a party or something like that, I'm not just going to walk up to every single person and introduce myself. If there's someone within my proximity though, I'll absolutely be friendly to them. You often get so lost in thoughts that you ignore or forget your surroundings. This happens to me every now and then, just due to the fact that, I don't know, I have this brain that never shuts off, so I always am full of thought. And every now and then I'll get stuck. I was actually just explaining this to a friend. I will be sitting in my kitchen and I'll be like, all right, I gotta record a video. And then I'll be eating, I don't know, an apple, and I'll look up facts about apples. I'll suddenly be like, oh wow, 30 minutes just passed because I was on my phone looking up shit about apples just because I was eating one and I wanted to know, are their seeds poisonous? Something like that. So that happens to me a fairly decent amount, I'd say. You try to respond to your emails as soon as possible and cannot stand a messy inbox. I'd say this is more than likely an agree. Just due to the fact that I don't like it when my inbox, especially my Girbeagly business email, fills up with indie devs trying to contact me or brand deals or things like that. I do try to get back to all of those in a reasonable amount of time because if I have too many emails in my inbox, I get a little bit overwhelmed. I'm like, oh shit, there's all this junk I have to sort through. I have to read through every single email and reply back to these people. So it gets hard, especially now with the recent surge in attention to the channel and attention to my social media and things like that. It's been really wild trying to keep up with it, but I do my best to keep up with it all. You find it easy to stay relaxed and focused even when there is some pressure. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to agree on that one as well. Probably not fully agree because there are moments where I get really overwhelmed by stuff, if I have a deadline coming up, for instance PAX South. My computer wasn't cooperating with me and I was like, shit, I can't get videos out, and I freaked out and I broke down and it sucked. But for the most part, I'd say that in a crisis especially, I just shut down. I go into this weird adrenaline fueled Zen mode where I just prioritize people's safety and what needs to be done, and I just get it done. I just go quiet and I just take care of whatever needs to happen. And I've had that happen in a number of different crazy weird scenarios, so I know that's how I am in those situations. You do not usually initiate conversations. For this one, I'm gonna go ahead and say I disagree, just because if I'm hanging out with family, friends, Morgan, I have no problem just sort of having diarrhea of the mouth and just talking and talking and talking. But at the same time, I can't do like a stronger disagree for that one, just due to the fact that a lot of the times with my internet friends, especially because they don't have like that physical proximity, I have a really hard time initiating conversation with them. And I've actually lost friends due to that online because I'm really bad at staying in touch. Like, I don't want to bug them ever, and I don't want to initiate a conversation when I don't have anything to say, because I'll be like, oh, we spoke, 2 weeks ago and nothing has really changed in my life, so I'm not going to bug them with these insignificant details. And by doing that, they think I'm being distant and cold, and there's always these miscommunications because we're not communicating. So that happens to me every now and then. You rarely do something just out of sheer curiosity. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to strongly disagree about that one. Sheer curiosity drives me quite a bit. Like I just said, if I'm curious about an apple, I will spend a lot of time learning about apples, even though it's completely useless knowledge for the most part to me. Or if there's like a new attraction that opens up in my city, I might not have the time and the money to go see it, but I will be very curious to go check it out at some point. So that's just how I roll. All right, so that was 10%. So we should probably pick up the pace here because there's a lot of questions left. That means you feel superior to other people. I'm going to very strongly disagree on that one. I don't like the word superior. I don't like when people hold themselves on a pedestal above people. But at the same time, like, I do acknowledge when maybe I have more experience or more knowledge in a certain area than other people, but I don't really like to feel like superior to them. Like, I guess every now and then I'm like, wow, that person's really fucking stupid. But so I'm gonna move that. I'm gonna move that up a notch, but it's still gonna be in the disagree realm. Being organized is more important to you than being adaptable. Oh God, that's going to be a strong disagree for me. Like, I have my own weird organizational system. Anyone who comes into my home is like, whoa, like your desk is a mess, or there's like so much shit around there. But there is like there's organization in the chaos. Like, there's always a little bit of order there because I'm like, oh, I just reach into this pile of shit and I know exactly what I need. And I know that it's going to be in that specific pile of shit. So, but like I said, most people won't see that as being organized. For me, I'm all about adaptability. I like changing based on the situation. So I'm 100% on that. You are usually highly motivated and energetic. This one, I'm probably going to go with like a fairly strong agree. I have a lot of down days, which is why videos go up really late, where I'm struggling and I'm not really able, like, the motivation is always there. I'm always so motivated with YouTube, but the energy levels are not always there. Sometimes I'm feeling really down and I need to just take some time for myself before I'm able to like hype myself up enough to make a video. And that sucks because, like I said, with the motivation being there, I'm constantly like, you have to do this, you have to get it done because it's going to be awesome, and you love making videos and you like putting content onto people's screens. It's really cool, but the energy itself is not there. So I'm like not 100% highly energetic, but at the same time, I'm fairly energetic, I'd say. Winning a debate matters less to you than making sure no one gets upset. I'm going to go ahead and say that I agree with that, but not fully. No, you know what? I'm going to strongly agree with that because I don't really care if I win a debate. A lot of the times for debates, I would rather lose because I want to know the other person's perspective. If they truly know something better than me and they have no holes in their logic, because I like to play devil's advocate, I like to poke people from the other side, even if I don't agree with it, just to find out if the platform that they're standing on is as solid as they claim it to be. And if it is, and I lose that debate, I would rather have them teach me more about that subject. So I don't mind losing debates, and I don't like upsetting people. Like, I don't ever enter a debate just to upset someone. I enter debates because I'm like, oh, cool, let's educate each other. Let's find out something new about our passions or something like that. So that's my stance on that. You often feel as if you have to justify yourself to other people. I wouldn't say that I often feel that way. I mean, I justify myself every now and then. Like, if I make a specific joke and people are offended by it for some reason. Like, I do like to give justification as to why I initially made the joke. I'll normally apologize, but I will also let them know, like, my mindset so they know a little bit more about why I made that joke, perhaps. But I don't often feel like I have to do that, so I'm going to disagree on that fairly weakly, I guess, just due to the fact that I do sometimes justify myself. Your home and work environments are quite tidy. Oh, I mean, they are. Like, they're manageable. That's the whole thing, is like, Morgan and I live a very functional existence. We don't have the cleanest apartment, but we don't live in anything close to a pigsty. We do pick up after ourselves. We throw away trash. We wipe up messes. We put things onto shelves and compartments like normal people do. But at the same time, you know, like, every now and then there's dishes in our dish rack for a couple days or something like that. So we're not like the most tidy, uptight people in the world. So I'm going to go ahead and answer that way. You do not mind being at the center of attention. Oh gosh. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to agree on that one pretty strongly. Not all the way, because I don't mind, like, if I'm in a social event or something like that, I don't mind being like the wallflower and not talking to people if that's what strikes me at the moment as being, like, you know, good for my mood. But at the same time, I do like to crack jokes. I like to talk to people. I like to get to know people and have people get to know me. So I'm going to go ahead with that answer. You consider yourself more practical than creative. I'm fairly practical. As you guys can probably tell from these answers, I overthink and overanalyze some things. So I'm going to go ahead and say, but at the same time, I'm really creative. I love creating. I love making shit. So even though it said not to do neutral answers very often, I think that's a good one to stick to neutral on, because I am both practical and creative, and I can't pick between the two of those. People can rarely upset you. I mean, they can and they can't. It's weird. If it's a direct attack and someone is intentionally trying to be malicious, depending on the context of what they're saying to me, I will either be like really upset by it, and I'll be like, oh shit, I gotta fire back. Or I'll hold back and I'll be like, who the hell cares what this, like, random, especially being a YouTuber, like, I get anonymous hate all the time. And I'm like, who the hell cares what this anonymous jerk-off says to me? I don't care, so I'll ignore them, and I won't get upset. But, like, actually, I tend to get more upset indirectly by people. Not when people attack me, but when, like, say I'm reading the news and I read about someone who did something really cruel and selfish, and they didn't keep other people's feelings in mind. That really bugs me a lot. So I do tend to go on rants about that kind of thing and get really bent out of shape about it. But at the same time, like I said, like, there are times where I get attacked and it just rolls off my back. So I'm going to go ahead and say, like, people, when they're trying to get a rise out of me, don't get a rise out of me more often than when they do get a rise out of me. So I'll go ahead, I'll agree with that one. Your travel plans are usually well thought out. Okay, that strongly agree. I am the king of itineraries. Like, I don't write anything down or anything like that, but I always make sure that I know when my flights are, my connecting gates, you know, how long it's going to take to get from point A to point B, directions if I'm driving, things like that. I'm really paranoid about, like, missing flights and having to reschedule, paying for things I wasn't aware of, like along a route or something like that, like fares or whatever. And then also just getting lost. I don't ever want to get lost when I'm on a road trip or whatever. Like, even with the advent of GPS on everyone's phone, like, I still get worried about that stuff. So I plan to a T exactly what's going to happen on a trip when I go somewhere. It's often difficult for you to relate to other people's feelings. No, it's like almost never difficult for me to relate to other people's feelings. I'm incredibly empathetic. I'm sure you guys can probably tell just through the fact that I try to talk to as many of you guys as I can. I try to relate to you. I try to give you advice when you ask for it, if it's an appropriate setting. And I don't know, I always have feelings for people. I think that people obviously are what drives us forward. It's not just thoughts and ideas, but it's the thoughts and ideas that people have created. So I'm always tapped into emotion. Your mood can change very quickly. Oh man. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to say strongly agree on that one. I have been told that I'm a hothead at times. Like I said before, when people go out of their way to be rude and horrible to other people, I get really angry. So I'm going to go ahead and say that I will strongly agree on that one. In a discussion, truth should be more important than people's sensitivities. I am going to go ahead and minimally disagree on that one. I'm sort of on the line with it. I don't like lying. I think being a liar is bad. If you lie to someone's face repeatedly, it's not a good habit to have. However, you always have to gauge every situation individually, and if you notice that someone's on the edge and the truth might push them over, that's probably not a good time to tell them the truth. Stretching the truth, maybe, I know people call it sugarcoating. It might be okay for a limited amount of time. So you do it once, and then when you notice that they've settled down, maybe then bring up the truth in a more gentle manner, something like that. So that's the way that I see it, but at the same time, like I said, don't do it a lot, because that just makes you a liar. You rarely worry about how your actions affect other people. That's a very strong disagree for me. As you guys can tell, I'm very sensitive about what other people think. But you know what? Actually, I'm going to change that, because it says you rarely worry about how your actions affect other people. I'm going to change that to that, just due to the fact that it's a little bit closer towards the center or to the agree side, because I do feel very confident in who I am, so I feel very confident in most of the actions that I take for the most part. Granted, sometimes when I'm not feeling confident, I sit there and I deliberate back and forth like I am with these test answers, but yeah, I don't know, I'm confident in who I am, and I always think of it as there's 7 billion people in the world. There's more than 7 billion people in the world. You're not going to see eye to eye on everything with them. So if they take something the wrong way that I said when I didn't have any malicious intent, that's on them. So, but at the same time, I do care for people a lot, and I don't ever go out of my way to hurt people or anything like that when I can help it. Your work style is closer to random energy spikes than to a methodical and organized approach. I'm gonna go ahead and say I agree with that a fairly strong amount. Like I said before, I have a lot of down days where I'm just sort of low energy and I'm not able to handle things. And when I hit those energy spikes, I'm boom, 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 I got everything done, because I have the energy, I have the motivation together, I'm going to take care of everything. I can't go all the way there, because I do have those weird low days, but also on those low energy days, I do tend to get methodical and organized. I do have a very specific way of doing things, but I sort of force myself through that organized approach. But that's not something that I try to use. I'm comfortable in my routine, but I don't like to stick to it all the time, because I adapt all the time based on whatever's happening. You are often envious of others. No, not at all. And this isn't just to make myself sound better or anything like that, but I almost never get jealous of other people. When I see someone succeed, I get really happy for them, and I get inspired. I'll be cool, that guy hit that milestone. That's amazing. I hope that I can hit that someday as well, but through my own hard work or whatever. I'm never oh, that guy doesn't deserve that, I wish I had what he had. That's not who I am. An interesting book or a video game is often better than a social event. I'm going to go ahead and say I strongly agree with that. I love getting wrapped up with being a homebody now and then. I like social events, but I don't go to nearly as many parties as I used to, and I'm perfectly fine with that. I like being nice and cozy at home and being comfortable. Being able to develop a plan and stick to it is the most important part of every project. I'm going to strongly disagree on that one. Actually, you know what? I'm going to move that up one notch, just due to the fact that I think it is always important to start off with a plan, but I don't think that you have to be a stickler for it. You don't have to stick to it 100%. It's really important to be able to adapt and adjust to whatever situations may come your way, because 9 times out of 10, that plan's going to be useless when conditions change. You rarely get carried away by fantasies and ideas. I'm going to go ahead and say that one. Weakly disagree, because even though I try to keep myself grounded in reality, like if I'm caught up in a moment, I do get really excited. If it's like an ideal where I'm like, whoa, the channel is really blowing up right now. It's great. I am all for this. This is awesome. This could change my life. Now, I don't put all my eggs in one basket because I am a realist at my core, and more times than not, I'm sitting there and I'm going, yeah, it's cool that the channel spiked in like views and subs, but it's not going to last. It's just a spike. So that's why I'm going to go ahead and just put like kind of disagree on that one. You often find yourself lost in thought when you're walking in nature. Absolutely, 100%. I love nature, but it's one of those times where I spend a lot of time reflecting on stuff. I don't know, if Morgan and I are on a nature walk, I'll just start talking about my thoughts and I'll completely lose myself in those. If someone does not respond to your email quickly, you start worrying if you said something wrong. I strongly disagree on that one. I know that people get busy. I don't get like freaked out when people don't. What ticks me off is I'll be like, yo, they should have written back by now. They're rude. I don't go, oh no, I did something wrong. I'm like, they're doing something wrong. So that's my mindset with emails. As a parent, you would rather see your child grow up kind than smart. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put that one. I think smarts are definitely important. I'd like a kid who's both, but I would rather have them be kind than be someone who's just like stick up their butt intellectual all the time. Because I met a lot of those types of kids growing up. Kids who just thought that they were top shit because they knew all the answers on the test, but they didn't have an ounce of kindness in them, and I hated those kids. I would much rather have someone who might not be the most academically sound as a kid, but they show kindness and they show compassion. You do not let other people influence your actions. I mean, this all depends on how much I trust the person, but I guess even then, like I said, I'm very confident. I'm 31 years old. I'm pretty old. I've been around the block. I've seen a lot of shit in my life. So I'm fairly confident when I make a decision that it's the decision that I want to make, and I'm willing to fight tooth and nail over that until someone proves me wrong. So I'm going to go ahead and say, like every now and then, you know, like Morgan, my family, my really, really close friends can influence what I do or what I decide. But overall, I'm pretty staunchly in my own actions there. So, oh wait, I should probably click, you do not let other people influence. I should probably click agree. I almost fucked that one up. Your dreams tend to focus on the real world and its events. I guess. I mean, I have like a lot of weird dreams. Like the other day on Twitter, those of you who follow me on Twitter, you saw that I had a scuba diving dream. We were scuba diving and underwater cave diving with like a bunch of fans, and it was G, Ethan, and I, and we were making fun of him by saying we were making fun of G by saying "stay lit, never quit" over and over again in our headsets. Yeah, I guess so. I don't really have a lot of like weird supernatural dreams. They do tend to revolve around like people I know or things that I know. So yeah, that one's an agree. It does not take you much time to start getting involved in social activities at your new workplace. I will disagree on that one, but only slightly. When I get a new job and I meet all the new employees, I won't go out of my way to insert myself into whatever they're doing. But if they invite me, I'll most likely make at least an effort to be friendly, even if I don't really like the prospect of whatever we're doing, just to go through the sort of formalities. So I do that quite a bit. You are more of a natural improviser than a careful planner. Oh man. Like I said, it's always good to have a plan, but I would rather improvise. I would rather just, I don't know, flow with things. I like to keep it cool when I can. Your emotions control you more than you control them. Oh man. Okay. I mean, I'm very self-aware of how I react to things and why I react to them the way that I do. Like I said, I did psychology. One of the biggest drawbacks of any psychology major or any psychologist is they tend to overanalyze and psychoanalyze their own minds. So I do that all the time. So I'm always like, oh, I did that really shitty thing. I know why I did that really shitty thing though, and I try to like bring it back and understand it a little bit more. But I am, like I said before, somewhat of a hothead, and every now and then I'll just fly off the handle and my emotions will drive me, so I'm gonna go ahead and click that one. You enjoy going to social events that involve dress up or role play activities? I will strongly disagree on that one. I mean, like, if you're talking about like other people doing it, I don't mind. They can do whatever the fuck they want. Like PAX, it's really cool to see all the cosplayers, but for me, it's not for me personally. I mean, like if someone asked me to do it specifically and we were on good terms or we were friends or whatever, I might do it with them just for fun, but it's not something that like overly interests me. You often spend time exploring unrealistic and impractical yet intriguing ideas. No, like I said before, like I get caught up in the hype of things every now and then, but they're never unrealistic. I always make sure that everything that I do is sort of grounded in some form of like reality and some sort of just like practicality. So yeah, strongly disagree on that one. You would rather improvise than spend time coming up with a detailed plan. Isn't that like the same question? You're more of a natural improviser than a careful planner? We're just going to go ahead with the same answer on that one. That one's dumb. You are a relatively reserved and quiet person. Oh, God. Nope, I will strongly disagree on that one. I'm constantly spouting my opinions, and I'm doing it quite loudly. Except for, like I said, social settings where I just don't want to, like, step on people's toes for no reason. When people come to me and they ask me about something, I will always share my opinion with them, and I will always have an opinion. But I don't just go spouting it for no reason. But I'm not a reserved and quiet person by any stretch of the imagination. If you had a business, you would find it very difficult to fire loyal but underperforming employees. Yes, actually I did have a business for a while. I owned a internet marketing firm with 2 other people for a bit, and it was a really interesting time. So we definitely talked about that quite a bit, just sort of the moral implications of having to fire someone that we really liked. So that's something that I would definitely have a difficult time doing. You often contemplate the reasons for human existence. Oh man, all the time. I am Mr. Existential Crisis. Logic is usually, like, I don't even have to think about that one. Logic is usually more important than heart when it comes to making important decisions. Ah, fuck. This is another one. I think I'm going to go neutral on it because I like a good balancing point. I don't like to go one way or the other. I like to do a combination of both. I like to put my heart into things. I like to make things personal when I can, but at the same time, I don't let myself get too biased because my logic dictates that I keep things practical. Keeping your options open is more important than having a to-do list. Absolutely, 100%. Actually, that's sort of like the same like planning thing again, so I'm going to go ahead and put it on that one because that's what I've been doing, just because I said, you know, plans, lists, they're good to start off with just so that you have some sort of framework, but don't rely on them. If your friend is sad about something, you are more likely to offer emotional support than suggest ways to deal with the problem. That is absolutely... God, see, that's another neutral one for me because I do both of those things. I'm not more likely to do one or the other because I always do both. Like, I always try to empathize with them and let them know that I'm there for them. But at the same time, I am a problem solver and I like to be like, hey, have you tried this? Have you talked to this person? Whatever it may be. So I got to go right down the middle with that one. You rarely feel insecure. Oh, God. That is a disagree. I feel insecure quite a bit. I'm confident in who I am as a person, but I do feel insecurities quite a bit. Just because, like, I know certain aspects about myself and are confident in them doesn't mean that I know and am confident in every aspect of myself. You have no difficulties coming up with a personal timetable and sticking to it. Oh boy, that's a strong disagree. Like I said before, I get distracted a lot. I grew up with ADD, and actually my ADD is so bad I don't even know if I mentioned this earlier in this video, but I have bad ADD and it constantly distracts me. It's something that constantly makes me lose my focus. Whenever I set a schedule for myself, it doesn't last very long. Even if I have like an app that helps me keep track of it, or reminders on my phone or anything like that, it's really hard for me to keep track of that stuff. Being right is more important than being cooperative when it comes to teamwork. I'm going to go ahead and disagree fairly strongly on that one. Like, I think you should always try to vie for the right answer and insert logic where it's due, but at the same time, cooperating with other people and hearing their ideas, I mean, that's the whole basis of teamwork. You think that everyone's views should be respected regardless of whether they are supported by facts or not. Oh man. I mean, I'm gonna vie more into, or lean more into disagree territory on that one. Just due to the fact that, like, I think everyone's views should be respected, but at the same time, if someone just says something blatantly wrong, like, don't let that shit fly. Like, don't get in their face about it, but at the same time, you know, rationally present the point, like, hey, you know, that's not true. The sun is not made out of chocolate pudding, and, you know, it causes Christmas. That's not something that happens. So you feel more energetic after spending time with a group of people. Absolutely 100%. I will 1 billion trillion % agree with that one. You frequently misplace your things. Like I said before, it looks like chaos, but I have a pretty good organizational system. Now, every now and then, because once again, my focus is off due to ADD, I do forget where things are, and I don't have a great memory. So yeah, I'll go ahead, I'll disagree on that one, but like just barely into disagree territory. You see yourself as very emotionally stable. Ah, boy, I'm gonna go ahead and, like I said, I emotionally analyze myself all the time, but it does not mean I'm the most stable person with that. Your mind is always buzzing with unexplored ideas and plans. Oh yeah, all the time. I constantly have ideas for the channel, for my life, for my friends, whatever it may be. I'm always thinking up shit. You would not call yourself a dreamer. Yeah, like I said, I'm mainly a realist. Ultimately, my core lies with being a realist. I have dreams and aspirations and hopes and wants just as much as the next person, but I try to ground them in logic where I can and approach them from a way where they're obtainable. You usually find it difficult to relax when talking in front of many people. I'm gonna disagree on that one. I'm a YouTuber, so I talk in front of a lot of people all the time. We just did a panel last year at Indie PopCon, and it was really freaking cool to just be able to talk into a mic and answer questions. It was a lot of fun, and obviously live streams and YouTube videos, I have absolutely no problem doing all that stuff. Generally speaking, you rely more on your experience than your imagination. Oh, gosh. Yeah, you know what? I do. Like I said, once again, a realist for the most part. I like to rely on what I've done in the past and what I know is true. So, yeah, that one's gonna be on agree. You worry too much about what other people think. I do not worry too much about what other people think. Like I said before, I know my flaws inside and out, and I think that anyone who tries to judge me or like make observations about me that are unfounded, that's on them. So we're going to move on from that one with a strongly disagree. If the room is full, you stay closer to the walls, avoiding the center. I guess it depends. Like, if I'm at like a party or a show, like, I don't mind saying excuse me to people to get by them. So I'm gonna go ahead and say neutral on that one. That's a weird question. I mean, I have no problem being like, no, I'm gonna say disagree on that one. I don't really stay towards the walls. I'm not like, oh yeah, I gotta get to the wall, that's the safety space, anything like that. That's just not who I am. You have a tendency to procrastinate until there is not enough time to do everything. Oh gosh. I'll agree on that, but it's not really due to procrastination. It's due to the fact that, once again, I have bad ADD, and it sucks because I want to get everything done, but I just get distracted. But I guess that all plays into the same thing. You feel very anxious in stressful situations. Once again, not really. Like, I do sometimes get a little bit overwhelmed, but for the most part, I go into Rambo mode, and I'm able to, like, handle most things that are thrown at me. You believe that it's more rewarding to be liked by others than to be powerful. Absolutely, 100%. I don't need power. I'm not the type of person who has ever strived for power. I like dealing with people. I like having interpersonal connections. They're really important to me, and I like having friends. You have always been interested in unconventional and ambitious things, in books, art, movies, etc. Okay, yeah, absolutely. 100%. I'm doing YouTube, aren't I? And finally, you often take initiative in social situations. That really depends. Like, I'm going to go ahead and say neutral because it all depends on the social situation. I don't like to take charge, but I will when I have to, and I don't mind doing it when I see everyone else backing down. So, I don't know, it just all depends on my mood at the time, but at the same time, I'm absolutely fine just like going along with whatever the group wants. So let's go ahead, let's see our results, guys. That was a really long test. That was not 12 minutes. I am a campaigner. I am ENFPA, so I'm extroverted. I am intuitive. So, so mind is extroverted. This trait determines how we interact with our environment. So I'm more extroverted than I am introverted, although I have a decent amount of introversion. My energy is this trait shows where we direct our mental energy. I'm intuitive more than I am observant. And nature is this trait determines how we make decisions and cope with emotions. I am much more feeling than I am thinking. That's interesting because, like I said, I do have a very logical brain and I dissect things all the time, but I do things from the heart quite a bit. Tactics, this trait reflects our approach to work, planning, and decision making. So I am more prospecting than I am judging. And then identity, this trait underpins all others, showing how confident we are in our abilities and decisions. So I'm more assertive than I am turbulent. So whatever an explorer is, I think it says, yeah, there's a personality types thing up here at the top. Let's go ahead and check that out. Let's find out more about the campaigner because I'm really interested to see if this test nailed me. All right, campaigner personality. Okay, so this is just a quote. The campaigner personality is a true free spirit. They are often the life of the party, but unlike types in the explorer role group, campaigners are less interested in the sheer excitement and pleasure of the moment than they are enjoying the social and emotional connections they make with others. That's me. Like I said, I love making friends with people. I like making sure people are comfortable and stuff around me. Charming, independent, energetic, and compassionate. The 7% of the population. Wow, 7%. I'm in the elite. No, not that any of the personalities are better than the others, guys. Don't make me think, or don't make me make you think that. Don't make me think. I can't even speak. What the hell am I saying? The 7% of the population that they compromise can certainly be felt in any crowd. All right. Well, that's, I guess so. And my camera is dying, by the way, guys. If my face cam suddenly disappears or already has, sorry about that. And I think it just died. Shit. You can change the world with just an idea. More than just sociable people pleasers, though. Campaigners, like all their diplomatic cousins, are shaped by their intuitive quality, allowing them to read between the lines with curiosity and energy. They tend to see life as a big, complex puzzle where everything is connected, but unlike analyst personality types who tend to see that puzzle as a series of systematic machinations, campaigners see it through a prism of emotion, compassion, and mysticism and are always looking for a deeper meaning. Man, so this is like pretty cool. So this is like a little summary here. Campaigners are fiercely independent and much more than stability and security. They crave creativity and freedom. That definitely freaking sounds like me. That sounds like me quite a bit. There's like strengths and weaknesses over here on the side. There's romantic relationships, friendships, parenthood. Wow, this is crazy. There's like so much stuff. What happens with romantic relationships? Let me look at that one quick here. When it comes to relationships, there's hardly anyone around who is more excited than campaigners to share with their partners the bounty of ideas and eye-opening experiences that life has to offer. For people with a campaigner personality type, relationships are a joyous process of mutual exploration and imagination, a chance to connect with another soul. Campaigners take their relationships seriously and are known for their uninhibited and unshakable devotion to the people to whom they've committed their hearts. Aw, that's adorable. And yeah, I mean, there's a lot more to this, guys. You can obviously go to the website yourself and check out any of these things in the Explore Your Type on the sidebar there and find out all about my type as well as your own if you'd like to. This was really fun. Sorry that it went on for so long. That was like 4 times the length of what it said it was going to be on the on the start page there. And my face cam died because it ran out of battery because I'm a dummy and I didn't plan well enough. So once again, see there guys, the plans always go awry. You always have to be able to adapt to them. But this was really cool. I hope that you guys stuck around for the end of this video and actually watched this. I know it was really long, but it was really cool to talk about myself, and hopefully you guys learned something about me. I know I am just a giant windbag sometimes, but it is really fun to sort of let you guys get to know me. But anyway guys, that's going to be it for this video. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, please be sure to hit the like button, share the video and favorite it. Also be sure to subscribe to me if you guys haven't already. For those of you who have, thank you so much for all of your support. You guys are the best in the world. I love every single one of you, and as always, it was great seeing ya. Bye-bye.
Girbeagly.